Morning, my friends. Welcome back to GP Outdoors. It's miserable and cold, and I got 52 hours on the tractor. Let's knock out this 50-hour service. Looks like I'm kind of fogging up in here. I got everything where it's supposed to be. Maybe not. Well, this is a lot better and a lot warmer. Just as a point for you folks, this is a standard everyday residential garage door height. I'm not sure what it is, 8 feet probably, I would think, or 7.5 feet. But she fit in fine with about 4 or 5 inches to spare. See it? This is your service interval maintenance section in your Kubota manual. 50-hour service today. It's a pretty simple maintenance. You're just going to replace and change the oil, put in a brand new oil filter. You want to change and replace both your transmission and your hydraulic oil filters. But note, you're not changing out your transmission fluid this time. And other than that, you're just going to check your engine start system, which is basically turning the key, checking to see if you get off the seat, if it stops, things like that. It's actually outlined in detail a few pages from here. And then you just want to go around the tractor, do your standard greasing on your fel and any other parts of the tractor, your 3-point hitch. Don't forget your brake pedal. There's a grease zerk underneath the tractor for the brake engagement. And then definitely important, you want to check the torque on your wheels. You're going to need your hydraulic oil filter, as well as your transmission oil filter. And you need to be careful with these filters. One is concave inside and one is convex, and they need to fit into the right spot. There's your oil filter. The manual says that the engine is going to take about 4 liters of oil, so I've got my 10W30, and you also are going to spill or lose some hydraulic fluid, especially when you replace that one filter, so you want to make sure you've got some UDT fluid with you as well. You're going to need a flashlight to get under that tractor. You're going to need a torque wrench. And you're going to need a long extension for your torque wrench so that you can get inside the rim on the back tires. You're going to need your socket wrench, but you're also going to need an extension because those 2 oil drain plugs are actually up inside above where your loader support beam is. Today we're only going to need 2 sockets. You're going to need a 17 mil and I believe that's a 24 mil. Of course, you're going to need a funnel, and if you've got an LX2610, you're going to know you're going to need a funnel that has a long neck on it. Grease gun, oil pan. And really handy if you've got an air compressor, great for blowing out the air filter. Just remember, when you are blowing the air filter out, you don't want it at any more than about 25 or 30 PSI. You'll need one of these to get your filters off. And you should get a black permanent marker or a Sharpie, because you should always write the date on your filters so that you'll remember when you changed them last. Quick visual check, battery cables, nice and tight. It's green in there, in your window, so that's good. I'm actually low on coolant. Luckily, I've got some at the house. I didn't bring it with me, but it's down below the min line, so I'll top that up when I get back to the house. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Check the tension on my belts. I check our air filter. Simply 2 snaps here. This guy comes off. Nice and clean in there, if you can see. That's great, no sediment. And your filter should kind of pop off, because you'll see there's an internal filter here as well, and this little rubber part kind of seals against the back of this one. Let's go give it a little blowout. Yeah, nice and clean in there. Great. I was told that you're supposed to blow from the inside out. You're not supposed to blow from the outside towards the inside. I'll check my pressure. I'm just dropping it down to below 30 because I don't want too much air to come out. Good. There we go. You'll see there are 2 drain plugs. You need to remove both. And she's freshly painted, so it's a little hard to get on. Okay, one is loose. Okay, here we go. You see that washer seems to be right on there, so I didn't have to worry about losing it. Okay. Now I'm just going to open up my oil cap on the engine, and that'll allow it to drain a lot easier. You'll notice on the tractor when you do your 50 hour that all of your filters, the hydraulic ones, transmission, and your oil, they're all gray. And I understand that they come this way because that way they can tell if you've done your maintenance or not, if you've still got the old original equipment on. In the manual it says not to get oil on this wiring harness. I have no idea how that's supposed to happen, so I'm just going to take it off and be as careful as I can. Jeez, super tight. My goodness. I don't know how I'm not going to get oil on it, but we'll see. All right, hopefully she'll turn now. I'll move my oil pan over a little bit just to catch anything. There we go. Great. All over the wiring harness. Perfect. I always keep the plastic on the bottom of my filters until I'm ready to put them on. It says you're supposed to take some new fresh oil and rub it around this rubber seal before you put it back on. I'm not sure if you're supposed to do this or not, but I'll just give that little guy a wipe there. Hopefully that's okay. Okay. Let's see if we can squeeze her in there. It says once you've got it firm, you're supposed to do one turn only after that. And I'm going with the half turn because that's not going to get any tighter without me hurting something. I believe she's drained enough. Let me put these back on. I understand when you put these bolts back on, you want to make sure that they thread really easily because you don't want to cross the threads on these. And when you tighten them, I understand you're just supposed to make them snug and not attempt to reef them on really hard. Yeah, so that's good. They're all going on really nice. Finger tighten. Just gonna click on here. Good. Good. And I'll check these in a few days just to make sure I did put them on tight enough. As I'd mentioned before, if you don't have one, you need to pick up a funnel that's got a really long neck on it in order to get it in there. I've got a couple of partial jugs, so I just want to use those up first. Okay, the first hydraulic filter. You folks will remember there are two of them that are very similar. This guy is actually the smaller of the two. And as you can see, I always leave my covering or the plastic cover over the end until I'm ready to use it. But you'll see she's the same size, so I know this is the right filter. Okay, once we start, I'm going to make sure that cable's out of the way. Got the next guy ready to go, and again, you've got to put some hydraulic fluid on this rubber ring. There it comes. All right, here we go. Let's get this guy on. Yep. Just make sure I'm not catching that cable. I don't know what that is actually. She's on, and I'm just going to give it a good firm. That's good. All right, this guy's the gusher. Here goes nothing. We got to be quick on this one for sure. All right, here goes nothing. Man, this one I do not like, and that is the correct one, yes. Oh boy. Good, I think that's nice and tight. I told you. Good. There's your fuel filter. Nice and clean. A guy always told me that you look for a water separation or you look for debris in the bottom of the cup, and you can see the filter is still nice and clear and nice and clean. So she's in good shape, as it should be. You're also supposed to grease all of your grease points on the tractor. I do mine every 10 hours like it says in the loader manual, and I just literally did it about 4 or 5 days ago, so I don't need to grease again. But you'll find that all of your grease zerks or grease points are listed in the tractor manual as well as your loader manual. There's about 6 or 7 on either side. You've also got a couple on your 3-point hitch, and don't forget your brake pedal underneath. Your tractor is also going to tell you your torque values for both the nuts on the front and the rear tires. And I've got 67 pounds on the front tires, and I need to torque to 141 here on the back tires. A number of folks have told me that it's not a good idea to use an extension because it I guess doesn't give you an accurate torque, but I have no other way of getting into these tires. This is all I've got. All right, that's a wrap. However, I've added oil and I've lost some hydraulic fluid as well. So what we want to do is fire up the tractor, let it run for a couple of minutes, shut it off, and then check both the hydraulic oil level as well as the engine oil level, and then top it up as needed. And other than that, I think I'm just about wrapped up, my friends. Time to get wet. All right, I'm wet, but I'm done. Big thanks to my neighbor Guy for letting me in his nice warm garage to do this today. It's a miserable day, and certainly a lot easier than doing it in my back shed on the ground. Just to kind of summarize things, very easy to do. You just take your time step by step. I ended up low on coolant, engine coolant, so I'm going to top that up. I've got some back at the cottage. Checked all the torque on all of my wheels. Only one was the rear left side had 3 nuts that were loose. Other than that, everything was up to spec. After I ran the tractor for a couple of minutes, I had to top up my oil, and I had to put about 2 or 3 liters of hydraulic fluid back in from what I lost when I took those filters out. But other than that, I think she's in good shape, ready for the winter and the snow to come. Well, I hope it was helpful for you folks today. If you like the channel, please click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to know when I'm posting videos, just click that little bell. Have a wonderful and safe week with your families. Please be kind, and I'll see you again on the next one. Cheers. I'll tell you, I'm loving this cab more and more every time I get in this tractor, especially on a day like today. This used to be a track in the open station B2601, and it was a cold track, you know, almost 0 degrees out, cold, rainy snow. Kind of nice having a little heat.